Sheila was filled with a sense of dread, and rightly so.
Yeah.
Obviously, she was thinking that something might have gone horrifically wrong,
Mm-hmm.
and she was right. After leaving his auntie, Tony drove to Penzance Beach near Colwyn Bay, which...
Why?
Well, here's the tea, honey. That was a gay cruising area at the time.
Oh.
Curiouser and curiouser. By the way, I did Google this just to double check because I wanted to make sure that this wasn't like slanderizing anybody. I mean, I'm not saying necessarily this guy is gay, but he went to a gay cruising site. But I wanted to make sure.
He might not known it was a gay cruising site.
Oh. I don't know. At like 1 a.m. in the morning, going to the beach each.
Yeah.
I did find a review of this area.
Really?
I found a review of this particular gay cruising area from not the perspective of someone who went there knowing it was a gay cruising area. Would you like to hear the review?
Yes, please.
So I've took out the names and everything, obviously, because I don't know if I can mention these people's names. But
no, you can't.
The review here says, and I might crucify this name of this place. We were in Llandulas tonight, but are moving on, as it's an extremely active dogging spot. Each to their own, but we weren't to be left alone. And when a face appeared at our window, not long after a previous bloke had knocked on our door, it stopped being a bit of a giggle and began to get creepy. I won't go into detail about what the bloke was doing as we left. The people there weren't just getting on with it. They were intruding on our privacy, possibly because, as far as I could make out, there was a distinct shortage of female company amongst the hopeful and desperate blokes. The bloke who banged on our door said he'd come to, quote-unquote, see if there was any action. He was politely declined, and he informed us that the outside of our van would be covered in bodily fluids by the morning. Classy.
Oh. Oh, no.
So... This person, again, this is just a review of how this, I think this was a couple of years old. Someone knocks at your door, says, any action today, love? You go, oh no, sorry, no, I'm not into that thing. He goes, I'm going to fucking come on your caravan. I'm going to fucking come on your caravan. You would get out of there pretty quick, smart.
It's the fact that she, said that she thought it was a little bit of a giggle at first.
Yeah, because
So
you
it was
might be able to go, oh, there's a couple blokes having a bum in the bushes over there, and as a woman who might be a little bit prudish or something, maybe I think she doesn't seem prudish. She's fucking giggling with it. She's getting on with it. It was only until someone said I'm going to come on your caravan that she left. Which, to be fair with her, I think I'd probably do the same. What a weird thing to threaten someone with. I'm going to come on your caravan. Weird.
Yeah.
Strange. It takes all kinds, doesn't it, really?
That's true.
I bet he's got a
Don't
really
get it.
normal job as well. Probably works in like a
accounting
or banking or something. Yeah, something like that. Once again, we digressed. Tony, he went there, and whoever he met there stabbed him 6 times, leaving him dying just by the water's edge. So, for whatever reason, he went. Although he was a married man, if Tony was at that particular beach late at night where men were looking for sex, the police are wondering, was there a murderer out there targeting gay men? Was this murder potentially connected to the death of John Roberts and possibly even Keith Randall's?
Who knows?
Well, yes, because otherwise we wouldn't be talking about those murders in this particular case. The question here is, did Tony have a secret life unknown to police? I've put in quotes, highly likely. But, I don't know. Maybe not. I'm not going to say either way.
Yeah.
It was 1995, obviously. Views towards gay men were vastly different than they are today, which is really weird considering this is within our lifetime. Really, that things were still so weird. And the attacks towards the gay community, towards the gay guys, the gay community, the police reached out to them, and a lot of them were unwilling to come on forward because I think a lot of them were still probably closeted, didn't want to speak out about things, which is a shame. But that does change in a bit. The police had to do something to attempt to stop the killings, and no one was talking. They did. Which was, again, this is great work on the police force, to be honest with you. They opened up a confidential hotline.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
So, at first, nobody was coming about because no one wanted to come out as gay.
Yeah.
But good on the police for setting up that secure line for them.
Yeah, that's a really good idea, that, to be fair.
Like, it's so different, the way that, the police are handling this compared to, again, Dennis Nielsen from last time. It's just, it's night and day.
Different.
It's night and day almost, yeah. So the confidential hotline was set up, and literally within the first few days, there was one particular name that kept coming up as someone who had been previously violent towards gay men.
Right, okay.
One caller even told police that he had been taken to this man's house 6 months ago and tortured, but
oh dear.
Again, as we find more with these types of crimes, especially in days gone by, when the victims are gay, they don't come forward.
Yeah.
So he didn't come forward up until this confidential hotline was set up. The man's name, would you like to know now? Who
yes,
this
please.
Man in Black is? The man's name was Peter Moore. Shouldn't have any effect on you because it's just a name so far. But let's quickly learn a little bit about Peter Moore.
Okay.
Born in 1940 in St. Helens.
What?
Crazy how many of these things are happening so close to places we have lived or grew up in. Because St. Helens is literally the town across from where we...
Right next. It's the next town over.
15-minute drive, if that.
If that.
I think I walked it one time. It was like 45-minute walk, maybe longer.
Bit longer.
Probably 2-hour walk, right?
I stayed about an hour and a half.
If I'd walked there, I was probably drunk. So, Peter Moore, born in St. Helens, but had moved to Rhyl in North Wales with his mum up until she died in 1994. So, think about it. She died just the year prior to all these murders happening. He was, and I'm quoting one of the investigators here from a very short video which I watched, he was a bit of a mummy's boy. An effeminate child as well, which is not a problem in any way, shape or form, but Peter got a lot of stick for it. Bad relationship with his dad. He was trying to hide it. His mum called him her miracle son, and he was. That's because apparently he was born when she was in her 40s. Well, I completely forgot about that fact. 40-year-old and having a baby. That's good going, right? Because usually, then again,
no, it's quite common now.
That's still, yeah. I don't know how people age. I don't know about the uterus. I don't know what age it goes. I don't know. But she thought it was cool anyway, because she called him a miracle son, so that's on her. It was described as a tall man with mousy hair and a greying mustache. My note here makes no sense. It says, fucking mustache Freddie Mercury. I have no idea what that means.
What?
But I don't know what I was on when I was typing those notes. To me, and I'll show you a picture in a sec, but just imagine like a John Cleese.
Okay.
Again, with the Fawlty Towers reference. How weird. So when this guy fucking in the caravan watching Fawlty Towers with his fish and chips got a knock on his door, opened up, thought it was John Cleese maybe. Definitely didn't happen. No, but I'll show you a picture. He does look a bit like John Cleese to me. Peter was a respected entrepreneur who ran a local chain of cinemas. So these are, before like UCI and Cineworlds and AMC, before all those. small local run cinemas is what his deal was. His preference was to show old B horror movies.
Oh, kind of like what with the Rocky Horror Picture Show, like the double feature sort of thing.
Kind of. I don't know if he did any double features, but well, we'll get to some more of that in a second. You okay? People in his local area, they loved him. So he was a very respected guy. I mean, what would usually happen is he did one of those sort of those like Saturday cinema clubs for kids.
Oh yeah,
he did like one of those. So like people would just like leave their kids with him, and they'd put movies on, and he didn't do anything.
Really well respected.
Yeah. He was like, that's when you look at a lot of these kind of weird killers and people like this, a lot of the sociopaths, you sort of hear that a lot. He goes, oh, we would never have known. He was such a kind and well-respected member of the society. First clue, bitch. If you are a kind, well-rounded member of society, red flag.
Well, I am. I'm nice.
No, but you're a little bit weird.
Thanks.
Well, you're with me, so you've got to be a little weird. I mean, if someone's too normal, is what I'm saying. If someone seems too normal, there is something off in my eyes. Again, I might be completely wrong, but that's just me. So the name The Man in Black came about because Peter was known locally for this because he had a habit of dressing exclusively in black clothing. He thought, he said, I think it was to do with like the tradition of cinema owners or theatre owners. Like that's the type of thing they wore.
Oh, really?
Apparently so, or at least he thought so. But yeah, so by day, this great entrepreneur who was taking care of people's kids, and everyone loved the guy. But in reality, he was a sadistic killer who was targeting men at night. Fascinated with the wartime Nazi party, he'd go to gay meeting places across North Wales in Nazi-style caps and leather boots with a large knife or truncheon.
Oh my God.
Yeah, you can imagine that would look pretty creepy. I mean, there's a bar in Manchester called Eagle, which I don't think he wouldn't really stand out if he went there, because that's full of like bondagey, burry, leather people. It's very not my scene, but I get it. Like,
yeah,
it's fine. They have cheap drinks.
Yeah, but it's the fact that he's got a knife where you'd be like, oh, yeah. That's a bit.
I'm not saying you can take knives to Eagle. I'm just saying the caps and the leather and the shit wouldn't look too far out of place. So it's but the knife definitely 100% would.
It's kind of looking like a little bit like the biker out of the Village people.
Yeah. Go for that. Yeah. With the mustache and everything. Yeah. So this look, he thought, gave him the dominating and overbearing appearance. He sought to frighten his victims for his own sexual pleasure.
Oh.
I don't know if there's something in that, because obviously the fact that
it's got to have some sort of like BDSM elements to it, surely.
I don't know necessarily. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say that people who dress... I mean, I know there is a stigma. There's probably a lot of people who do dress like that who are into that. But I'm sure people just like leather sometimes.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
The thing, though, that my thoughts on it were the fact that, you know, he dressed in a way which he thought was powerful and dominating. The fact that, you know, earlier we say that he was an effeminate child and he was bullied for that, and it made him feel weaker.
So he's trying to rectify that in his head,
I think. I think he was trying to some way compensate for that. But the stupid thing is you can be effeminate acting, and you can still be controlling and dominating.
Yeah, of course.
Can still be, you can still be. You can. I'm trying to figure out the way to word it. If it was a different time and he was more open to conversations with these people rather than just stabbing the fuck out of them, he'd have probably realised there's other people out there just like him, and being an effeminate child is no big deal whatsoever.
Yeah.
So that's a little background on Peter Moore. Let's jump back into the investigation.
So we left there where the callers...
The anonymous phone line has picked up the same names coming up, Peter Moore, and the police are like, okay, let's fucking check this guy out. The detectives turned up